It's almost a shame there's only one more of these games. These are exciting. They're coming down to the wire. Eagles are like game-winning drives or game-winning field goals. Not bad for the preseason.
Some fun endings, but it's the first 58 minutes that are the problem.
Yeah, that's probably true. This is the Eagle Eye podcast.
And I think we're kind of in the minority that we both enjoy preseason games. I like seeing the young guys play.
Yeah, of course. I do. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. This is the Eagle Eye podcast presented by Nissan. He's Reuben Frank. I'm Dave Zangaro. Up here in Foxborough, it was an exciting game. Some good stuff, some bad stuff, some, I don't know, some preseason stuff for sure. Reuben, I don't really have a plan for this pod. I figured we would just like kind of go through offense and then defense and then special teams, and then I'll drive back to my hotel and get ready for my flight home. Sound good?
I think it's a good plan.
All right.
I hope your flight does not take as long as my train ride on Tuesday night.
Yeah, I would hope not. You were up here for the joint practices, got back for pre and post in the studio today. Let's start with offense. Is Tanner McKee better than Kenny Pickett?
Tanner McKee is better than Kenny Pickett. And I think I said something a couple of weeks ago, it might have been before camp, that it would take a combination of Kenny Pickett being really, really bad and Tanner McKee being really, really good to even consider moving Tanner McKee up to number 2. And we kind of saw both those things today. I was really impressed with the kid and his ability to get rid of the ball quickly, to spread it around. He was decisive. That you could see he just added some juice when he was out there. I mean, as soon as he came on the field, he was firing down the field in a way that Kenny Pickett we just haven't seen from him. I thought Kenny Pickett was holding on to the ball. And I think early in camp he was doing that, and I thought he was getting better as far as getting rid of the ball quicker, but he really regressed. And Nick talked about protection. It wasn't protection. It's not why he got sacked. It was because he just stood there with the ball.
Well, no, I will agree with Nick a little bit there because both of those guys played with a third-team offensive line. The difference was the Patriots still had their good players out there when Pickett was out there. I mean, there were some where he really didn't have a chance. Like Max Sharping at left tackle against, Keon White is like a pretty big mismatch. Even
I agree. But on 4th and 8, if you're a third-year guy that started 24 games in the NFL, you got to get rid of the ball. You can't take a sack on 4th and 8. An interception is a better result than a sack. At least an interception, you're gaining 30 yards or 20 yards. He's just got to know that. And I just thought he looked lost out there. I thought he regressed. And you definitely have to take into consideration who they're out there with. But Tanner McKee just looked more confident, more comfortable. And you could see his teammates just respond to the way he was playing in a way that they didn't when Pickett was out there.
Yeah, and like I did want to mention about the guys who are out there with the Patriots, but it kind of backs up what we've seen all summer. I think, if you were to just go to a random practice and I tell you, hey, one of those guys is the backup quarterback, he's a first-round pick. The other is the third stringer. He was a 6th-round pick.
Who's never played in a regular season game. The other guy started 24 games. You'd be wrong. Yeah,
you'd pick the 6'6" guy who's slinging it a little bit. At one point, there was a Patriots reporter in front of me turn around and go, McKee, he's pretty good. And I went, yeah, he's looked good all summer. So, I've been impressed by him, and I thought he just played with a lot of poise. He's running the offense well, and the ball just looks different coming out of his hand.
Yeah, and just that decisiveness. And you got to take into account everything. I didn't even like the way Kenny Pickett. We ran his presser in the post game show. Were you in there for that?
No, I was in the locker room.
He didn't even show any accountability. There was no sense that I need to play better. I need to make better decisions. I need to be more decisive. I would have liked to seen. I mean, it's not that important, I guess, what you say, but it was just the combination of everything. Tanner McKee came out and. He just showed me something I haven't seen from Kenny Pickett. And when he went back in the game, and we didn't know until after the game that was apparently the plan all along.
Which does make sense. I wasn't there for Nick, but I heard the explanation.
Yeah, the explanation does make sense. We didn't know it until after the game.
So basically the explanation was that they did want Will Grier to play, but they wanted Tanner McKee in like if they had a 2-minute drill, or in this case ended up being a game-winning drive, they wanted him to have those reps.
Yeah, and you want to learn as much as possible about anybody that's competing for a job, and I think we learned a lot about Tanner McKee tonight. He had a good training camp last year, but there was something we've seen growth from him. There's no question about it. And this is a new offense for both of them. So the fact that Tanner McKee has higher comfort level than the first round pick and the guy that's played in the league and started a lot of games in the league, I think that speaks volumes.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I've been thoroughly impressed by McKee all summer, and in the first 2 preseason games, he's just looked better to me.
Yeah. Now, what that means, and look, Nick said everything that you'd think he's not going to bench Kenny Pickett in a press conference in Foxborough on August 15th. I think if there is a change, it's not going to come until just before the regular season. We might not even know about it. But
I don't think we're going to see a change.
I don't either. I think
they brought Kenny Pickett brought him here to be the backup quarterback. He's going to be the backup quarterback. And if there ever arises a situation where he needs to play and plays poorly, it might be a shorter rope for him. Like they might go ahead and get Tanner McKee in quicker, but I still think Kenny Pickett's going to be the backup.
I think you're probably right. I think McKee should be, but I think you're probably right.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Let's back up a little bit. Eagles did not play their starters on offense at all, which means that Mekhi Becton did not play. We already knew it was his job. It's, super solidified now, especially after Tyler Steen hurts his ankle again. Look, we've talked about this. I give Tyler Steen a ton of credit. He's been playing through this injury. I think he's been playing fairly well, but they're all but announcing it that Mekhi Becton is their starting right guard.
Yeah, a guy who's never played guard before, and you feel bad for Tyler Steen. He hurts his ankle. He missed about a week and a half, maybe. He comes back and he's already lost the job just from getting hurt. He might have lost it anyway, but he keeps practicing because he knows the only way he can win it back is, at least the only way he has a chance to win it back, is by practicing and maybe overtaking Becton. It was a long shot, but he probably shouldn't have been practicing the last week or so. But he was out there gutting it out, and like you said, not doing too badly. And then he just got aggravated the injury, and I don't know how long he's going to be out. But it's a loss, because even if he's the backup, he's a valuable guy because he can play tackle, he can play guard. So if he misses appreciable time, that's a big loss, even if he's not starting.
It is, but now I think it's time for the Eagles to make sure he heals that ankle. It's clear now that you're not going to win this job. This job belongs to Mekhi Becton. Number one responsibility for Tyler Steen is to get healthy. He's going to be on the team. So the number one responsibility is get healthy, become a backup. That might mean backing up multiple positions, but you have to be healthy to do that. And Mekhi Becton's the guy. So I think that has to be the first order of business, to make sure he doesn't hurt himself more.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. But yeah, backup right guard becomes a concern. We kind of figured Becton would.
The starter might be a concern.
Starter might be concerned too. I think that's totally fair. He's a guy that's never played guard, and I think on the pregame show you put it really well. He has some really wow plays, but then he has some plays that raise some concern. And the thing about him is, what is he, 6'8"? If you're 6'7", 6'8" at guard, the challenge is you got to stay low, or a low guy, a smaller guy, a shorter guy is going to get leverage on you. He's going to get under you and take control of the rep. When he gets tired, he's got to go play 50, 60, 70 snaps, who knows, 80 snaps, like the Bills game. At the end of that game in the fourth quarter, is he still fit enough to stay low and to keep his technique? That's a huge concern for me. And the other side of the equation is, I figured Steen would back up guard and tackle, and he might not be backing up anything for a few weeks. We don't know how long he'll be out, but it's a blow to their depth, no doubt.
Yeah, and even with Becton, we've seen some good plays in practice. I have no concerns about him in the run game. I think he's just big and strong enough that he'll be okay there. In pass protection, I'm a little concerned, just because it's a lot different playing inside. The spacing is very different.
Yeah.
And I've seen like some reasons to wonder how quickly he's going to pick this up. So that's on my radar. And I still think the Eagles are going to have a good offensive line. They have 3 Pro Bowl caliber players. I have a lot of faith in Cam Jurgens at center. So it's not like the sky is falling. I think they're going to be a very good offensive line, but the weak spot could be the right guard position, and that's not nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, he is a first-round pick, so there's something there. I mean, he's a huge guy. He's come a long way at guard for a guy that never practiced or played there. So he's come a long way just since the spring.
And the potential is certainly there.
The potential is there big time. So it'll be interesting to watch. I'm really curious how it'll go.
A few injuries on offense to note. Coming into this game, Matt Hennessy was not available. Don't know what that injury is. I watched him walk into the locker room like as the team arrived, and he was walking very gingerly. So I don't know how long he's going to miss. John Ross suffered a concussion in this game. Johnny Wilson suffered a concussion apparently at the joint practice. He was unavailable. So some injuries piling up here.
Yeah, and that wide receiver competition, all of a sudden Johnny Wilson has a concussion, John Ross has a concussion. And Johnny Wilson, I think, kind of maybe tailed off just a little bit before that Tuesday practice.
He came back to earth a little bit.
Which is fine. It's going to happen. He's a young rookie. Ross, I think, was just starting to do some good things. He had a couple nice kick returns tonight. He looked fast. And now he's out. Who knows how long. Paris Campbell, I guess, was limited on Tuesday. So he still hasn't had a full practice. He'll probably be back on Saturday, but how much time he's missed, and it's not like he was lighting it up before he got hurt. So that third wide receiver spot, Britton Covey is the smallest guy in the team, is the one guy that stayed healthy.
I think he's bigger than Jake Elliott.
All right, smallest position player. But yeah, you know what I mean. I think it's a concern, and I mean, I think we both agree that there's a really good chance that third wide receiver is somebody that's not currently on the roster. But I'll tell you what, if James Bradbury, and I don't think he had any trade value before tonight, he certainly doesn't have any now. So I don't know who you're going to trade to get somebody, maybe one of the corners. But I just don't know.
You can trade a pick. You have picks.
You can trade a pick. Yeah, Howie doesn't like to do that.
Yeah, I think they need to. We were of the belief, or at least I was, that there was a good chance they were going to trade for one no matter what. And nothing I've seen over the last 3 weeks makes me think they're okay.
Yeah.
And we've talked about it's kind of a rich man problem, right? Wide receiver 3 on a team with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. It's not like that guy's going to get a whole lot of run anyway, but I don't know if they have enough. Like, it could be maybe some combination of a Britton Covey, Johnny Wilson. I think their sizes and the size difference there is a little tricky. And, Britton Covey, by the way, he's on this team. He's got the team made. He was in street clothes by the second half. It tells you what they think of him.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. But still, he's never been a receiver. I think he can do it. I think we both kind of agree on that now. But I think he'd also be kind of a specialized guy. And if one of your outside guys gets hurt, he's not gonna go play outside wide receiver. So I think Howie's got to get to work on this. I'm sure he's looking around. Joseph Nagata had a nice game. He's a guy I've always liked. I think he had 88 yards.
We were standing outside the locker room, and A.J. Brown walked by, and we didn't say anything to him, and he goes, "Star of the game, Joseph Nagata."
Yeah, and good for him. And he was around last year, so they like him. I'm not sure there's enough there. I don't know. He hasn't really had a very active preseason. I mean, he played well tonight, but it's not like he's been catching a bunch of balls in practice. So
no, I liked what I saw from him today. Last week there was a throw from Tanner McKee. It was a back shoulder throw, and I thought Ngata just misread it completely.
Yeah.
And then he had a back shoulder today. So I'm seeing improvement. And I agree with you. I don't think he's the answer, but it's good to see improvement from a young player. Like, he clearly saw something he needs to get better at, and he's working on it.
Yeah. And the guy is 23, another Clemson guy. He's in the mix, I guess, if they don't make a move. I don't think he's very fast. He's got good size. So,
kind of like a prototypical X, just a big body.
Yeah. But he caught the ball well. I thought he ran some nice routes tonight and made a couple big plays. So maybe he can elbow his way into that mix.
You know who has been on my radar for a while and is now firmly in the mix for a roster spot? EJ Jenkins.
Yeah. Did some good things.
To me, on merit, he deserves the tight end 3 job.
I agree.
I don't know if we'll get it. They might show some deference to the veteran CJ Uzama. Maybe they go out and get someone. Maybe Jack Stoll shakes free from New York and they go get him. But on merit of what I've seen, if they want to keep 3 tight ends, I think EJ Jenkins should be the front runner for it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think he's earned that. Looks good. Young guy, 25, 26 from Georgia Tech, I believe.
He's big. You think he's a converted receiver, but he's bulky. And it was fun. I talked to him after the game a little bit, and he knew he had to improve as a blocker. He's a converted receiver. He said he was hitting the heavy bag all the time, always working on his feet. He said he'd be in his living room watching TV, move the coffee table to the side, work on his footwork during a commercial. Like he's put in the work, and it shows. He looks really good out here.
Yeah, and I guess he's about 6'6", 245, 250, something like that. So he's a good sized guy. Yeah, I've been impressed with him.
Yeah, Will Shipley, I thought, did some nice things in this game, especially on that screen pass.
Yeah,
made a guy miss. Got a nice block from Dylan McMahon. Might have been a block on the back, but he
Close.
springs anyway. I saw some good signs from him, and I like what I've seen from him in general in the training camp and then in these 2 preseason games. He's flying down on punt coverage.
Sure is.
Probably like to see him jump on that football, but
yeah,
he looks pretty good.
Yeah, I think that was half of Kenny Pickett's passing yards was that 19-yarder. that was all Shipley. That was a really nice play by him, and there was like 3 different points where he could have gone down. I thought he showed really good vision and balance. Tough runner. We haven't really seen him productive in the running game as a rusher. I think he's going to have a big role as a receiver. I'm not sure he's going to get a ton of carries. But
Change of pace type guy.
Pardon me?
Change of pace type guy. And we've seen them in practice use a little bit of 21 personnel. I think that would be part of his role, which won't be a lot, but a little bit.
Yeah. But he's an impressive kid.
Anyone else on offense you want to talk about?
Well, we can talk about Kendall Milton. My bold prediction was he was going to score a touchdown in the pregame show. But I do like that kid. And I'll tell you what, all those running backs, Tyrion Davis-Price does some good things every time we see him.
He's looked much better in the games than he has in practice.
Yeah, and once in a while there's a guy like that. They just kind of respond to the game. Well, you're right. He's really shown up in the 2 games. And I still like Lou Nichols. It's possible none of those guys will make the team.
How in the world did they overturn that spot?
I don't know. That was ridiculous.
On 4th and 1. And it's funny because I'm watching it and on the field I go, I think he got it, but that's a bad spot.
Yeah.
Come to find out it was a good spot and they somehow overturned. I don't know. It was very weird. That
was the worst thing I've seen since they took that girl's bronze medal away. I don't even know.
So my favorite thing I saw today was Nick Sirianni in mid-season mode, just going crazy. I forget exactly what it was when he went nuts, but I'm watching him because I see him throw his headset and then it's on the ground and he goes to kick it, but he hits it and it like wraps around his leg and now he's got to like shake his leg to get it free. It was very funny.
It's Coach of the Year stuff right there.
It was good. Anything else on offense?
I don't think so. I think we kind of covered it. Wasn't a whole lot going on. Not a whole lot of big plays from the offense.
All right, let's take a break then. We'll talk defense and special teams on the other side.
You deserve a car that thrills you, a car that puts goosebumps on your goosebumps. At Nissan, we got everything from turbocharged SUVs to 100% electric vehicles that'll make your heart beat faster. Experience the thrill for yourself and shop your local Nissan store at nissanusa.com today.
Celebrity cook Steve Martorano brings his Italian-American cooking back home to Philly. Enjoy Martorano's Prime at Rivers Casino and Steve's famous meatballs with Sunday gravy, prime steaks, and more. Make reservations at Martorano's Prime on Open Table. All right, Rube, let's talk defense a little bit. Want to talk good stuff or bad stuff?
Let's start with the good stuff.
Let's start with the good stuff. What'd you see out there?
Well, I like watching the linebackers. I think Nakobe just continues to show some growth. What I really liked about Nakobe tonight was, we've seen him have success as a blitzer, but I thought he made some plays in the open field. I thought he played the run well. He looked faster. I wonder how much that foot was bothering him or just the long layoff, because he just is progressing week by week, and he's finally looking like the guy that I think we kind of expected. He's had a nice little about a week and a half here where he's kind of really gotten back in that linebacker mix, I think.
It's really funny. I asked him about that. I said, it kind of looks like the last week or so you've been hitting your stride. He was like, I don't know. I think I've been good all camp. I was like, all right, well, maybe I'm just seeing something different from you.
I'm seeing exactly what you're seeing.
Okay, good.
He looks a little faster, a little more sure of where he's supposed to be, just more active. Yeah.
Yeah, I've really liked what I've seen from him. Now, it is worth noting that we talked about it after Tuesday's joint practice. He was the first guy on the field with Devin White. That was not the case in the game. They went back to Devin White and Zach Bond, and then Nakobe came in after that. But I thought he played pretty well when he got the opportunity. Yeah,
I did too. Bond played a little better, I thought, than Friday in Baltimore.
I agree. He needed that.
Yeah, he did. Trotter missed the tackle.
That was Jalen Polk made a pretty crazy move on that.
Yeah, he did
twice.
What do you think of Devin White?
I don't really have any thoughts on Devin White. I think he's going to be the starter. I think he's going to make some plays. I think he's going to give up some plays.
We haven't really seen him make a bunch of plays.
No, but we haven't seen him make bad plays either.
That's true.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means, but I agree. I think he'll be a starter. I think it'll be him and Baum, but man,
I think I'm Team Nakobe.
I mean, I would play Nakobe.
I think it's going to end up being Nakobe. As we sit here on August 15th, that could change.
Yeah, I hope you're right. I think if Nakobe keeps, well, he thinks he's been playing like this all, but I mean, I just like the progression. He just, to me, he just seems like he's really, something's clicked with him, and I like what I see. We haven't really seen this Nakobe since he got here. So, I mean, you remember like his rookie year, he didn't have a great training camp. Last year he got hurt. I don't think he had a great training camp. He got hurt early. He was really hurt all year, even though he played.
He's made more big plays this training camp than he has the previous two
combined. Yeah, and plays in the open field. That's what I really like seeing. I
still think that's the concern with him. I always think he's going to be a better player running downhill.
Yeah,
but if you can mask his deficiencies a little bit, I think he might be able to play. And I think there's something there. It was funny. He brought it up on his own that, when he came back from the foot injury, he said, I might have been in the spot most people didn't expect me to be, meaning not with the starters. So I went back and I asked him, like, well, how'd you, like, what was your thought on that? Like, how did you deal with it? And he went back to, like, I'm from Horn Lake, Mississippi. No one wanted me. I had to work my way up, played for Georgia, 5'10" linebacker, got drafted. Like, so he feels like he's in a role where he's being counted out a little bit, and he's kind of used to that. I think he might be able to play a little bit.
I'm starting to think so too.
Yeah. And look, it wasn't that long ago where I was like, uh-oh.
Me too.
I mean, that open practice at the link, and that he admitted, like, that was the one practice this summer he thinks was just bad.
Yeah.
And we know it was bad because Vic Fangio just said it was bad. But aside from that, I think he's had a pretty good summer.
Yeah. Agree.
Are you still thinking Bond?
I would start Nakobe. I wouldn't even think twice about it. But they just seem to love Zach Bond. He's a little faster. He's a little bigger. We'll see.
I don't know if he's faster.
Probably a little bit, but probably a little bit faster, but it's probably close. We'll see. I thought maybe Nakobe might get the first crack tonight. We'll see how it goes Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then only a couple more days. We'll see what happens in that Vikings game, but I think Nakobe's earned it. I really do.
Yeah. And I will say this. Obviously, linebacker is not a strength of this team. We're not saying it is. I think they are in a much better position right now than they were August 15th last year.
Yeah, I think that's true. Yeah.
Let's talk about the safety position. We'll start with the good. Avonte, big play. Steps through that pass. Austin Hooper in the end zone.
Really physical. He was really physical with Hooper. I like that.
Yep. He read it. Hooper's bigger. Reads it, picks it off, shows the speed going the other way, 47-yard interception return. And then later in the game, he played some nickel. I think Avonte Maddox was a valuable piece on this team. And I know people are kind of over him because of the injuries, but I think he's a good player. And if you can keep him as a backup, he doesn't have to play every snap, I think that's ideal.
Yeah, I agree. And it's funny. I mean, they cut him not that long ago and then re-signed him when, I mean, he was out on the street. Anybody could have had him. Every conversation about Avonte Maddox includes if he can stay healthy. And he's a really good player when he can stay healthy. I just don't know with his size and build and the way he plays the game, I think it's going to be hard for him to stay healthy. But he's had a really good few weeks here. He's healthy. He looks great. It was a big-time play, and it's the kind of play that this team was missing last year. They didn't create many turnovers, and it was good to see. I just like how physical he is, and I thought he made a couple other good plays tonight too. I've always been a fan. You like his versatility.
His play style is fun, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
And we've talked about it. It kind of leads to the injuries, but if he's not a starter, he has fewer reps, theoretically, like fewer chances to get hurt.
Yeah.
I think it could work.
Yeah. And I mean, he's done everything in his power to, he's looked at his nutrition and diet and sleep and everything to try to minimize. Some things are out of your control, but he knows he's got to be healthy, and so far so good.
One more good thing with the safeties, I like a Tristan McCollum.
And I like Andre Sam, by the way.
Okay, yeah. I think Andre Sam probably doesn't have much of a shot to make the roster.
No, he doesn't. But he's feisty. I like the way he plays. He's a practice squad captain for me.
Tristan McCollum, I would keep Tristan McCollum over James Bradbury.
Oh, my goodness. I'd keep. Wait a minute. I got to look up his name. Who's the guy who played Robert Scorpio? Tristan Rogers. I'd keep Tristan Rogers over James Bradbury.
It was a rough night for James.
Yeah.
Like we've talked about it, like in practice, I think he looks the part of a safety. There are moments where there are good things. This game was not good. It was a definite setback in this experiment. And he brought up two plays specifically. I talked to him after the game. One was the missed tackle, which, yeah, he's got to tackle him, Jalen Polk, but good move, got to tackle him. And then the touchdown, he kind of looked lost a little bit. He explained after the game that the edge player was supposed to have contained, but he moved him inside because as a safety, you kind of have some of the responsibility of communication. And then he didn't fill that responsibility, which should have been on him. That's how he explained it. So either way, a bad play from him, and it led to a touchdown. So there were going to be ups and downs. This was a down.
Yeah, I saw it look slow. He was out of position. He missed tackles. I've been really, I mean, we've both said nice things about him because he's handled this better than I thought he would. He's looked pretty good at times, but this was a big setback for him. I mean, there was a point where I thought they might be able to get something for him. I thought, look, how he got something for Byron Maxwell. He got something for Kiko Alonso. He got something for DeMarco Murray. He can get something for James Bradbury. I don't think that anymore.
Yeah, it was a tough night for him. So on defense, there were some kind of starters playing tonight. We mentioned on offense, it was, really none of them. On defense, the only guy up front that played was Bryce Huff. What'd you make of that?
Yeah, I don't know. Other than Vic just wants to see him stop the run, which I thought he did okay with that at tonight. I guess it's kind of like Becton last week against the Ravens. He played because it's a new position. Now, it's not a new position for Bryce Huff, but I guess it's a new role in the same position, more reps, more responsibilities, playing on more downs, more situations. So maybe they just want to see him in if he's making progress. I mean, we know he can rush the passer, but other than that, I don't really know.
Yeah, I thought that was curious because everyone else that we consider starters were not playing.
Yeah.
At linebacker, they all played. That competition is ongoing. In the secondary, no Reed Blankenship. CJ Gardner-Johnson obviously has the injury. No Darius Slay. But Isaiah Rodgers started. Keely Ringo started. Quinyon Mitchell started. And then later in the game, Quinyon got to play some outside corner. And Rodgers was the first one out, too, which, again, indicates that he's in the lead there.
Oh, Keely had a little bit of a tough day.
Up and down. I thought there were some good moments. There were some bad moments. There was one where he got beat by a little bit. I thought he had good coverage. The throw was just kind of perfect.
Yeah.
The one thing I like about Keely is he'll get beat and then he'll come back and make a play.
Yeah, he's one guy that it just doesn't – he puts it out of his mind, and I'm sure you got that from Slay. I'm sure that's something every young cornerback has to learn. You just put it out of your mind. You're going to get beat. It's going to happen. I still like Keely. A little bit of a tough day. Nolan Smith had another sack, and this one somebody actually tried to block him.
You know what's funny, though? On his sack, he got chipped by the running back, and this is why some offensive tackles absolutely hate when a running back chips for them, because on this play, the tackle had decent position. The running back chipped Nolan Smith, chipped him inside. He gave him a pass rush lane, and he sacked the quarterback. The tackle's like, what the heck?
Yeah. You know what I like about both sacks that Nolan has? He's really finished the play.
Violent finish.
Yeah. Really good to see. Because how many times do we see a guy get to the quarterback and try to wrap him and he runs out of it? And look, it's not like he was playing all pros or anything, but he really finishes. He gets to the quarterback and he sacks a guy. That guy stays sacked. I mean, it's encouraging. And I think he looks good. He looks strong. He looks fast. And I'm not quite there yet, but I'm encouraged by what I see.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
On defense, what else stood out? I thought a couple of the defensive tackles looked good. PJ Mustipher up front.
Yeah.
Moro Ojomo played pretty well.
Yeah, and Mustipher's a guy who could be backup nose if he's on the team.
Yeah, if they keep 6 defensive tackles, maybe. I think that's – I don't know.
They've done that before. I just don't know if the ones they have are good enough to keep 6.
Yeah, that's the thing. And, I think they might just try to get by with Marlon Tuipulotu as, the backup nose. And
could be. Yeah, but I liked what Mustipher did early on. I think he had a tackle for loss. He had another good tackle. Penn State kid. Bounced around a couple of practice squads last year. I think the Broncos and the Saints maybe. I like what I saw from him. He showed up. I
agree with that. Ojomo played well, and I told you this. I want to share it with the listeners. Before the game, it was actually kind of a weird scene, Rube. Before the game, they had they cleared the field. It was like an emergency in place or whatever they call that because there was a bad thunderstorm. So the Eagles started to warm up in the tunnel. I'm talking really warm up. They had the ladders out. They were going through stretches. We were kind of getting squeezed out of our live hit spots for a little while. But at one point, Ojomo and Jalix Hunt were walking two ships in the night, and they stopped and dapped each other up and had a few words for each other. And in my head, it was more Ojomo going, "Sorry, Jalix, Zangaro's your problem now." My 2 surviving camp guys from the last 2 years.
Last year's surviving camp guy, Ojomo, and and Jalen Hunt. And I would recommend to anybody who hasn't seen it yet, check out Dave's series, Surviving Camp. Jalen Hunt, a really entertaining kid, and it seems like he's having fun doing the series with you.
Yeah, which is always the key, because
Yeah.
after like a 2-hour practice, you're sweating. Sometimes the last thing you want to see is this mug walking at you, asking you for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But I thought he had kind of a quiet night tonight, but in general, I think he's having a pretty encouraging training camp.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
How about Patrick Johnson with that early pressure?
That was a really good pressure coming off what he did last week.
You'd like to see him finish it.
Yeah.
But he's
it could have been an interception. I mean, he could have, because he made him throw off one foot, but it was, is he working his way into the mix there?
If he's not on the roster, he's the 54th guy. I believe that, because he is such a special teams demon. Like, you need guys like that, whether it's maybe he's competing with a Ben Van Sumeren for a roster spot, but sometimes like one of those guys makes this team, and Patrick Johnson has made the team the last 3 years. He's played more special team snaps than anyone else on the roster. Like, I think he's probably a guy that people aren't talking about as a roster player, and he is.
I did a 53 just for, we had an hour between post game and the game, which is weird because we did early post game because of the Phillies. So I did just for
pregame,
for laughs, pregame, just for laughs. I did a 50.
Like, how'd you do post game before the game was over?
I thought I said pregame. I'm sorry. Max, but I did a 53, and I actually found a way to put him on it.
The last one I did, I had him on it.
I had to juggle some things around. But once I realized I could cut Kenny Pickett, I just got an extra roster spot. No, I have, he's a valuable guy. Yeah. And I mean, there's a reason this is his 4th year. There's a reason he's been around that long. Mm-hmm. And I think of more of as a special teamer than a real threat as an edge rusher, but he's had some really good pass rushes the last 2 weeks. Yeah,
I totally agree with that. He flashes in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't really get a ton of opportunities in the regular season, but yeah. What else we have? Special teams, kickoffs, some good tape to learn from. They gave up a couple of big returns. One to Jalen Reagor. You don't like to see that. So they're going to have to tighten that up. I don't know. They had Brady Mann kicking off today. They're going through their options a little bit. I don't know what to make of the new kickoff. It's funny. It seems like a lot of work for like not much difference in starting position.
Yeah.
It's like an extra play that, occasionally one will break a little bit.
And it doesn't seem any safer if safety was a part of it. I mean, guys are getting
big hits. Yeah.
Guys are getting killed doing it. There's some violent collisions. So we'll see. It's, I think they only approved it for the 1 year, right? I think we'll see what they're going to reevaluate it, but kind of don't have a real feel for it yet.
Yeah, neither do I. Two games into this, I thought I'd like have a firm stance. I want to take on it. I want to say like I like it or I don't like it, and I still don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I think I want to like it, so I'm trying to convince myself that I like it, and I don't know if I do.
Yeah,
part of me is like, take the ball to 25 and start the drive.
Yeah, something to that.
I liked that Nick Sirianni gave Anaya Smith a chance to get in the end zone for that 2-point conversion. They called a rub route. I liked that he's doing what he can to try to build this kid's confidence up. I think that's good coaching. Like, he did it. It didn't work. The last practice at the NovaCare complex, we talked about it. They gave him a one-on-one situation against a safety, and he didn't get open, and he dropped the ball. But
it's Andre Sam, so.
But this was another chance. I like that Nick does that. We've seen this from him before. Like, a guy has a bad play, he'll go back to him on the next one. There's something to that, and I like that he's doing it for the rookie.
Yeah, and everybody was happy for that kid. He's had a really tough few weeks, and that was a big play, game-winning play, and to see him be the one to make it was really cool. Although Kendall Milton scoring the touchdown was even cooler.
What were the other bold predictions?
What were the other bold? Barrett had Britton Covey catching at least five passes for at least 50 yards. Gosh, see if I remember. I don't remember the others.
So it's funny because I never get to watch pre or post game. Do you guys go over them in post game, like to give you a little victory lap?
Yeah, we go over them and embarrass ourselves. Yes.
Okay.
I took a little victory lap tonight.
It's good. The Kendall Milton victory lap. Right before that, you slacked me and were like, I need him to get in that end zone.
I did. I needed that one. Barrett's claiming that it's a preseason game. It doesn't count, but I'm counting it.
In your heart, it counts. And that's all that matters. That's all I have, really.
I'm ready for the regular season. Get one more of these out of the way.
One more exciting finish in the preseason.
We're getting there. We've cut downs 2 weeks away, less than 2 weeks away.
Yeah, and the grind of training camp is not over, by the way. The Eagles go back to practice on Saturday. They go Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It's all leading up to the last preseason game next Saturday afternoon. But 3 days in a row is not nothing for this team.
Yeah, some rain in the forecast, so we'll see. Hopefully they get all those in outdoors. Nick even mentioned were you there for all of Nick?
I wasn't there for any Nick. I have to be in the locker room. Or we won't have sound.
He mentioned that they've got some really long physical practices coming up, which is interesting. I haven't added up everything and compared it to last year, but I think the practices this summer have probably averaged about, what would you say, like an hour 40?
Yeah, something like that.
Where I think last year they were probably about an hour 25, something like that.
And they're getting more reps in.
They're getting more reps. I feel like they're crisper. They're more physical. The practices are longer, and there's more practices. Like they had 4 straight days, and now they're going to have 3 straight days, then a day off, then 2 more days. So it'll be 5 out of 6 when we get back to the NovaCare on Saturday. So Saturday will be start of 5 out of 6. They didn't do that. They didn't do that his first few years. So there's definitely, and I think it's one of the reasons. I think the defense looks pretty good. The 2s and the 3s. I mean, they've only given up 300 yards in 2 games, and I think the practices are one of the reasons. And it's also a reason I think they're more comfortable not playing the starters because they're getting more work in practice than they have in the past.
Yeah, and also because Nick doesn't want to.
That too. But I guess what I'm saying is I feel better about it.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're getting – I feel like they're real practices now.
Okay. This is fun.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention I went to a place I think you would like today. This morning I went to the Brown campus in Providence, Rhode Island. I went to the Athenaeum.
Mm-hmm.
You ever heard of this?
No.
It's an old library. It's like a private library, but you can go in and like tour it.
Mm-hmm.
1836 it was built, just like these like beautiful bookshelves and like really old books. It was fun.
Lehigh had a science. I think it was the science library that was like that. It was this historic building, and you go in the basement, and it was like 1,000 racks of books in a row, and just like as far as the eye could see. Old libraries are really, really cool. I was up at Brown on Monday. We went to practice Tuesday. Yeah, I walked around Brown's campus on Monday. I really like it up there. Those hills are crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot. If you've never been to Providence, Rhode Island, there's this beautiful old, I guess, mini mansions. And
yeah, it's really a great cool town. I like Providence. I wish I was up there a little longer, but it's a good, honest North, like New England. I guess that's considered New England, Rhode Island.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah.
I've been up here all week. I need to go home.
Well, have a safe trip back.
I will try to do that. This is where I tell everyone, if you enjoy the Eagle Eye podcast, you know what to do. Please rate and subscribe wherever you get your pods. If you're watching on YouTube, please click the like button and subscribe there as well. Any final words, Rube?
Safe travels.
Thanks. Take care, everyone. This has been Eagle Eye presented by Nissan. We'll talk to you soon.